In this video, my 5 customer service tips that'll make your electrical contracting business stand out from the competition. You ready? Let's get into the video. Tip number 1 for any business is that first impressions matter. When I do coaching, one of the reasons I tell people that they don't get the sale is maybe they look like crap or smell like crap. Maybe you got Satan written on your forehead from things that you did in the past that you're not so proud of. Those things need to get covered up. Those things need to get worked on because first impressions matter. I don't care what your price is, when you can start. If you got Satan written on your forehead, you ain't coming into my house. First impressions matter. A part of first impressions is how you answer the phone and if you answer the phone. I'll teach you in coaching on the system I've used since day 1 to make sure I answer the phones. And if I can't answer it or my office can't answer it, it then leads to my technicians being able to answer it. Someone will always pick up the phone and greet you at the 360 Electrician. First impressions matter. Set up a dedicated business phone. Do not use your cell phone for your personal and your business. You're not gonna know how to answer it. What if people are calling you at 12 midnight? Do you really wanna answer your cell phone? Because how are you gonna know if that's an emergency call from a family member who's in the hospital and the hospital's trying to reach you, or whether that is your next big $1 million job? You're not gonna know if you just use your cell phone as your business phone. Separate the two. After you got your phone separated, make sure you put professional sounding voicemails. Let people know if you're a one-man, two-man show, just let them know that you thank them for calling and their call will be returned as soon as possible or even within a 15 to 20 minute time frame. Let them know after hours that the phone call will be returned at the next business day. Same on weekends and holidays. These are all things that are going to help you retain your clients and give them great customer service. Let's go to tip number 2. Tip number 2 is a little bit of an infomercial because you know we're all in with Jobber. That's right, service software. Why service software for customer service? Let me give you the 3 top things that Jobber's gonna help you with to make sure your customer service is top notch. Number 1 is your scheduling. Yes, your calendar. It is all included into Jobber. Now, I used Google Calendar for years in my business. The problem was once it got complicated or I had too many things going on, it was too difficult to find out what the work is I needed to do, when it was scheduled, what the parts list were, what was it I sold, and how much I sold it for. It becomes a nightmare. You need an all-in-one service software. Now, using our links down below, you're gonna get a special discount on Jobber, and when we do a dedicated Jobber video on how to use Jobber to level up your electrical contracting business, you're gonna be invited. So Google Calendars are great when starting out. Jobber's even better. So here's the second thing Jobber's gonna do. It's gonna eliminate phone calls and text messages because once you enter everything into Jobber, you schedule it, you hit a button, it's gonna automatically notify the client that their service call or their job has been scheduled. If there's a change, they can call you back and automatically adjust that. The third thing it's gonna do is when the time comes to do the job, you don't have to go in 5 different directions again to find out how much you sold it, what the parts are, and what you need to get this job done. It's all gonna be in Jobber. How nice is it when you show up at the client's house and you brought all the right parts, you know what the job is you're gonna do, and you've already scheduled it all through Jobber. It is very unprofessional and your customer service is gonna go down when you forgot to bring that part that you should have wrote down in Jobber so that you make sure you can get the job done now and then get to your next service call, correct? Customer service matters when you're super organized. We do it here at the 360 Electrician by using Jobber. All right, let's go to tip number 3. Tip number 3 is a no-brainer, but I don't see enough people doing it. Set clear expectations. What can the client expect from your company and what do you expect from the client? Let me give you a couple of tips on what I'm talking about. Number 1, if you're a one-man, two-man show, this happens a lot. You need to explain to them, hey, Mr. Client, not a problem. I appreciate you giving me a call. I do want to let you know that this is our busy season and unfortunately we are slightly understaffed because of the holidays, let's just say, or whatever season it is, or maybe that we have a big project going on. Let the customer know. It's not a bad thing. They can say a couple of things. Well, great. They give their people time off during the holidays. Oh, wow, that's good. They're super busy. They got big jobs. They're not going out of business. Set clear expectations to let them know, hey, I appreciate you, but this is how our program works. This is the service call fee we require. Why do we require the service call fee? What is the expectation? Our first initial visit is to give you a fixed contract price proposal, and then we schedule the work to be done. Again, because maybe you're a one-man, two-man show and your booked. Even if you're like us, we're booked all the time. We have to let them know that first we come and analyze the project. We give them a fixed contract price. If they agree to it, there is a chance we can start then, but most likely, depending on what they told me, we will schedule the work at a later time. Setting clear expectations, even though you might do it 10 times, customers and clients sometimes forget. It's constantly good to reaffirm what your expectations are. Now, the flip side of that, hey client, if you go ahead and approve the proposal, we do require a 10% deposit before we can schedule the work. These are all things that you might want to say beforehand. Also, qualify the client way beforehand. Let them know that you have a service call fee before you go out there. Anybody that's not willing to pay you a service call fee is not going to pay you what you're worth when you get there. Don't think that you get there and you're going to give this great price that you know you gave for half price that should have been a lot more money, that they're automatically going to go for it. Clients don't know what electrical costs, so you need to qualify the client by telling them that there is a service call fee, truck roll fee, etc., etc. Never tie that to a time. Don't say our first hour is. Never tie your time to money. You get paid on your experience, not how long it took you to do the job. All right, let's get into tip number 4. Tip number 4 by far is the most powerful. It is my favorite. It is how I grow my company. It's how I get referrals. It's called keep the customer in the loop. Keep the client in the loop. This is not difficult. Again, I'll go back to Jobber. If you use Jobber, you could put reminders in there. When you're gonna go, when you're scheduled the job, they get a reminder. When it's the morning of the job and you're gonna get ready to go to that job, you hit one button and it tells the customer that you're on the way. Communication, communication, communication. If you have any change in your schedule, if you have any hiccups, communicate. A communicated customer is a happy customer. A happy customer is a repeat customer. That client is going to tell all their friends and family about you. It's super simple, but yet we don't do it. It's hard when you're a single or double or 3 or 4 person technician team. It's not hard when you have software or systems in place to make sure that gets done. Look, you might tell me, Jeff, enough about Jobber. I can't afford it. Fine. You better put a ton of reminders on your phone. You better do a bunch of other things that I'm going to argue with you. It's going to cost you more than if you just get a subscription to field software. So communication is key. It is literally the way you level up. So many clients I've won here in Montana because guess what? When I tell them, great, we'll be there tomorrow, they're shocked. That's what gets us to number 1. It's not being any different. It's just being better. Communication is the way you're going to take your company from 0 to 360. I can't tell you enough how many times I've heard from clients here in Montana that say, I used you because you showed up. I used you because you told me when you're going to be here and you were. I used you because you said in the morning you were coming. When the communication, and keeping your word when you give that communication. Super key. All right, let's get to number 5. Hey, before we get to number 5, make sure you hit subscribe and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and don't forget to head over to www.the360electrician.com to sign up for our email list where you'll find out about everything we do here on the 360 Electrician channel. Now let's get into number 5. Number 5 is one that's missed all the time. This is something that Joseph started in my company in Montana. I never did it in LA, and that is have a follow-up system. He is such a people person. He has a heart for people. He loves on people, and he says, Jeff, I want to take this role on myself. You know, he made me print company thank you cards, and he personally writes a message to each and every client after we do a job, puts it in the mail. What? Costs us $2 to follow up through mail? People don't use mail anymore. They're so used to texting and voicemail and unpersonal communication. Now, some people expect it. It's not a bad thing. But once you get a handwritten card in the mail, it's very personal, especially to your older clientele. And I'll argue with you that my older clientele sometimes spend more money, have multiple properties, and have lots of rich friends that they're going to refer us to. Do not underestimate your follow-up system. You have to have one. All right, that's it. My first 5 tips to help you level up as an electrical contractor. These are things that I personally follow myself and teach my team. We level up every single day and we hold each other accountable. Did you do these 5 tips? When I get a customer complaint, heaven forbid, I can come back to these 5 tips and find out where my guys messed up and how we can make it better. Appreciate you guys. Thank you as always for making us the #1 electrical contractor channel on all social media. We will see you on the next one.